Hey everybody, it's Ben Burchard, creator of Total Product Blueprint, and welcome back to module number 6, where we're going to take on coaching and mastermind programs. You're going to love this module. First and foremost, as always, congratulations for your progress in moving through the Total Product Blueprint series here. I know it's a lot of concepts, lots of ideas, but you've been champions in the blog areas of just supporting each other, asking great questions, and I just congratulate you for not only making it this far, but having that continued commitment for your learning. You know, I look back at the last decade now, actually 15 years since my car accident. It was 15 years ago. I think about that time in my life and how so shortly afterwards I decided at some point I was going to learn all the things I needed to learn to get my message out there in a bigger way. And I've just always been so dedicated to learning and taking courses and going to seminars. And I'm excited so many of you were so excited to get the invite to the Experts Academy live event. And I can't wait to see you there too, because that's going to take this whole thing to a whole other level. When you're there and you're immersed in it and you're meeting each other and you meet partners there and you meet affiliates there and you meet all these amazing people who are just dedicated to the same thing you and I are, which is how do we serve people with what we know? And so I really want to congratulate you for making it this far. I look forward to seeing you at the live event. And I'm really excited about all the feedback that we just got from Module 5, the online training and the DVD training, because I think that's some of the best training in the business period, just that one module. I watched it again with a great friend this weekend who was like, I wish I had this. And I said, I know, everybody does, but that's why we do this, right? So again, congratulations. Appreciate your commitment. Let's rock and roll. In this video, we're going to take on how do you create mastermind programs and coaching programs. And basically these high-end programs that you see everybody offering from stage or having in their business models. And I'm going to do something unique in this module that I haven't done in previous modules, which is I'm actually going to combine the two concepts into one video. Meaning, usually I'd have one video for like coaching and one video for mastermind in terms of how to create it, and then another video on how to market a coaching program, and another video on how to market a mastermind. But in this area, it's kind of unique. The high-end programs, especially coaching and mastermind programs, the lines between them have blurred so much. Matter of fact, many of the components I will teach you in this video for mastermind programs are often very similar to the components that you can offer in coaching programs. And that's exactly why in this video, I'm going to attempt to do both in one video. I haven't done that before throughout the series because everyone has been so distinct. You know, an online program and a DVD program are so completely different. You know, a teleseminar versus an audio program, completely different. An ebook versus a book, completely different. But when we get down to focusing on higher end programs in coaching and mastermind, often how you create them, the concepts you're going to think about how to create them, and the components you'll offer to your customers, which is what we'll cover in this video, are so similar these days that I want to address them both at the same time. And I think you'll really appreciate that. So that's the two things we'll do in this video. Again, is focusing on what are some of the concepts you need to think about to create world-class, high-end coaching and mastermind programs. And then second, what are some of the concepts that actually, or some of the components that actually go into the menu of things that you can offer people for your higher end programs. Now, one thing to keep in mind here that I should give as sort of a caveat, when I talk about coaching and mastermind programs, specifically with coaching programs, I'll be emphasizing more group coaching programs than I will be individual one-on-one coaching program. Now, the same thing, don't sweat, if you want to do the individual coaching programs, the same thing I'll teach in this video apply. However, I'll focus more when I use the examples on saying the word group. Saying, you know, you could, for your group, you could offer this, for your group, you can think about that. And the reason I do that is twofold. One, because I'm teaching coaching and mastermind at the same time, and, you know, usually you have coaching clients and mastermind groups, but really, if you're doing group coaching, we can just use the word group for both coaching and mastermind. And the second reason is, I highly recommend that if you're going to develop coaching programs, that you start out with the intention of building a group coaching program. I learned this the hard way. You know, when I first began my coaching program is called the Center Ring Coaching Program. And my Center Ring program began with individual once a month calls with everybody who was a CenterRing client. Well, that was great until I had like 50 coaching clients. And you know this too, if you're a life coach or a business coach, once you hit that 30 to 50 client range, your life becomes completely about two things: the calendar and the calls. That's your whole life. Every single day you wake up, you got to look, okay, all these people I got to call, and you're on the phone your entire life. I mean, like 8 to 12 hours a day. It's just relentless. You pick up the phone, you talk to one client, you take notes off of that client, you get ready for the next client, you get on the phone, and your whole life becomes that. And at some point, it's not scalable. You know, and everything I've tried to teach in Total Product Blueprint has been scalable. If you actually look back about it, and most people don't understand this, but as they come along, a lot of the, you know, the very experienced folks in Total Product Blueprint have been sending me messages about that. They're like, thank God you built it this way. And maybe you found that distinction or you haven't yet, but now you know. Everything I've taught you has been very scalable. All the marketing tactics, all the ways to create things, but specifically the marketing strategies, the launch strategies are incredibly scalable. But so it would be a disservice to suddenly, here we are at Module 6, let me teach you something that's not scalable, right? That wouldn't make any sense. So the reason I'm going to focus on group coaching programs is scalable. Coaching clients one-on-one, not scalable. You hit a peak in which you, your individual self, can only call so many people during a given day without going completely insane, right? So we want to focus on the idea that now you're going to get a group of people, even if you only start with one, but you're going to build it in a way that you can service many, and that's group coaching. Now, what's the difference between coaching and masterminds? Well, like I said, the line is honestly blurred very recently, but the major difference is this. In a group coaching program or a coaching program in general, you're sort of a mentor to others. It's a lot about you teaching and you asking the questions that will instruct other people or inspire them to move forward. But it's very much about you, the coach. Well, of course, all coaches know that our job is to make it about the customer, about the client. It's still very client-coach driven, and the coach is really the person offering the tremendous amount of value there and mentorship to the coachee to improve their lives. Now, and that usually happens through calls, through lots of these other components we'll talk about nowadays with group coaching programs. But the main difference is between coaching and mastermind is that the mastermind is really not about you. And in the masterminds, the role sort of switches from you being the teacher, the mentor, the coach, to you being simply the facilitator. Because in masterminds, it's much more about the group than it is about you. It's about the group coming together, several times throughout the year, and you facilitating the process in which they learn from each other. They have specific, unique experiences that advance their personal life or advance their business life, and you're just kind of facilitating. You still might teach, right? But the game really changes. Where in coaching, you might be, offering, 70% of the time, you're coaching and you're asking the questions and you're offering insights that's helping that coachee pull their way through. But in masterminds, you might only be talking or teaching literally like 15 to maybe 30% of the time. The rest of the time, it's just the group doing something together. Even if you're facilitating it, you facilitate it quick, let it go into the group. And so we'll talk about the things you can do there with masterminds as well. But in group coaching programs, when you're coaching lots of people, oftentimes it kind of does become a mastermind because you grab those coaching members and you say, hey, instead of just doing a call with you every single month, let's get together 2 times, 3 times, 4 times a year live so you can meet each other. And then you run the mastermind with them anyway. And that's exactly why I say the lines have really blurred, and I'll be addressing both as we go through this video, as well as we go through the next video, which is on, well, how do you market these programs once you've thought through them and you've offered them and you've built them? How do you get people into them? And I'll tell you what, I'm going to reveal something in that coaching and mastermind marketing video, the next video that I've never revealed before, which is my process for enrolling people into it that will blow your friggin' mind. I mean, I've never shared it, ever. And as you know, we have a multi-million-dollar business doing that. And it'll be game changing. I'm going to send it to the top people in the industry because I know they're trying to figure it out too. And it's the first training anyone's ever put together on here's specifically how to market this thing, the sequence, you know, the script outline, okay? You're going to create your script for a video or for a sales page. Here's the outline for doing that. And I think you'll really enjoy that. So let's get into what are some of the things you need to think through at a conceptual level as you're going to build a world-class coaching or mastermind program. So let me walk you through the concepts, and then again, I'll get into the menu of things you can offer your clients. But let's start with what to think through. The first thing I want you to think through is this idea of starting with the outcome in mind. Sort of beginning with the end in mind, as Stephen Covey would say, right? We want to start with the outcome in mind about what is it you want this group to achieve? Where is it you want to move them from point A to point B? What's the curriculum that they're going to go through? What's the framework of training you're going to offer them? You know, even in coaching programs, you want to think about what is your end goal? What's the outcome there? Now, many life coaches and business coaches will say, no, Brendan, no. You do not build a coaching program based on you, the coach's outcomes. You build a coaching program based on the client and what the client wants to accomplish. And that is true at one level. Never forget that you have a purpose in life. You have a mission as an expert. And your mission as an expert is to inspire and instruct other people to improve their lives or grow their businesses, right? So you've got to think of, well, what is your specific outcome with this group for you? That no matter what, you're going to help them accomplish that. Even if they say their goals are ABC, that overlaying that, you're helping them achieve what you want. Let me give you an example. You know, a lot of my coaching clients will often say, well, Brendan, you know, teach me how to do this launch. And they'll just want to know how to do a specific launch sequence. And they just kind of want that training and that coaching for them. Well, that's their outcome. That's what they want, is to have a successful launch. But for me, in my mind, one of the things I want them to accomplish, my outcome for all of my coaching clients in my center ring, my outcome for my center ring members is a couple things. One, for sure, I want to make sure that I help them find their unique message that's going to make a difference in their lives and other people's lives. Two, I want to help them make a greater difference and reach more people with that message. Three, I want their business outcomes to improve. I want them to make money overall in their business, not just that one launch, but overall I want to look at their brand and help them build different levels of profit, recurring revenue. And four, I want to make sure that they do all that with sanity so that their lifestyle actually improves through their interactions with me, that they have a better life, that they're a better person, they're a better father, mother, individual contributor out into society. That's what I want. That's my overall outcomes, that I'm going to make sure that no matter what they say their outcomes are, I'm going to achieve those things too, because that's my outcome in coaching, right? What about masterminds? Well, my outcomes for my Empire Group Mastermind, and I'm just using my examples throughout this video because this is what I do, right? And so with my Empire Group, I have a different outcome. They're very similar as what we just talked about, but my outcome is that the group especially will teach each other what strategies they need to know to get ahead. My outcome is that their relationships between each other will grow over the period of a year so that these people become each other's best friends. My outcome is that these people will promote each other because they believe in each other's message and they help each other find each other's message, that they support each other's message, that they interview each other, that they're really involved as a group with each other. My outcome is that these people become family. So that's my outcome. Their outcomes might be just, I want Brendan's best lessons, or their outcome might be, well, I'm going in to meet these types of specific people there, but I'm going to overlay my outcome. So what are your outcomes for your coaching programs and your mastermind programs? And again, like all things in Total Product Blueprint, you may have these programs in place or not. But the great thing is this video will be here forever. So whenever you decide like, wow, I really want to build my coaching and mastermind programs, you can come back here. But I would also encourage you, like with everything else with Total Product Blueprint, is to take the time now to hit pause and to develop your own outcomes, even if you're not creating this right now. Just the act of creating and the act of outlining your intentions and your outcomes, just the act of going through all of these videos and pausing them and creating your things, even if you don't roll it out for years, Even if you have no intention at all to ever roll it out. You might be saying right now, Brendan, I'm never going to do a group coaching program. And I go, fine, no problem. Still pause and figure, well, if you did do a group coaching program, what would your outcomes be? And I want you to do that for all the videos again in Total Product Blueprint. The reason I say that to you is just the act of creating, the act of thinking these through, that's going to develop your mastery in becoming a world-class content creator, in becoming a world-class leader in this field. It's the act of doing it, even if you never roll it out. I mean, I can't tell you, did you know I've written 3 books that I've never released? 3 full books. I've never released them. 2 of them I have no intention now of ever releasing. But guess what? It made me a better writer. Thinking through these things and just doing them makes you better. It's mastery. Okay? So the first thing to think through is starting with the outcome in mind. Second thing to think through is determining your interaction levels with each of these groups. So, for example, with your coaching program, how often do you want to talk to these individuals in your coaching program? For how long? How deep emotionally do you want to go with them? Thinking about, okay, what's our interactions going to be like? Are we ever going to meet live? Is it all going to be on the phone? Is it all going to be webinar driven? Is it going to be teleseminar driven? What's our interaction going to be like each month? Same for your mastermind members. How many times a year are you going to get together? How long are you going to get together? How much are you going to be in front of the room? How much are you going to lead the group? Just to be thinking through, what's our levels of interaction going to be here? And I'll tell you, if you're thoughtful here, and really thoughtful, you'll be in the top 1% easily. Because most people creating coaching and mastermind programs, they're never world-class because they don't even think about those things. They just say, well, everybody else seems to be doing a 1.5-day mastermind program, so they start doing that. But it may or may not serve your outcome. All of my mastermind meetings are 3 to 5 days. 3 to 5 days. It's like a full-on seminar. You want to think about that. I have more interactions with my people than most folks do because of the amount of content I'm putting out, whether video or audio or getting them on the phone or our live events. And it's all built purposely to achieve my outcomes that I hope for those 2 programs. So think about your levels of interaction. When I walk through the components of which you can offer, it will help you think of that even more. But the basic questions are, how often do you want to interact with them? What modalities do you want to interact with them? And how deep do you want to go with them, right? How deep do your processes want to be? Okay. Third thing to think about is this idea that you should develop a framework and a curriculum to move them throughout your program, right? To have an idea, okay, if they start with you on month 1 of coaching, what are you going to cover in that month? Even again, if it's driven by their goals, you should have in mind that overlay of what your outcomes are. So you think, okay, if they're going to be with me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 months, what should I do? And by the way, I highly recommend that you make all of your coaching programs 6 months or 12 months and all of your mastermind programs an entire year. Matter of fact, I've moved my entire business model to both my coaching program and my mastermind program. They're full years. Why? It's a full year. Why? Because I have this outcome in mind that's big. And I only want people who are truly committed for this. And so I don't offer it anywhere else except in certain places where I know that I can enroll people for an entire year. And if they're not going to do it for an entire year, I'm not interested because they're not on the path to mastery if they won't commit to that. But I want to let you know that too, many people will do a coaching program, for a month, for 2 months, for 3 months, for 6 weeks. It's totally up to you based on, again, your outcomes. I highly recommend the further you evolve in your brand and your business that you move that 6-month and that 12-month model. Why? 1, you can make deeper transformations with people, and we're here to serve. That's our purpose anyway. And 2, simply because the revenue and understanding that the revenue is going to be coming in for you as a business over that duration allows you to better plan your business model. Okay? So develop a framework and curriculum for what are you going to teach them over the period of time that you have them, and be really thoughtful about that. Again, I won't emphasize this too much because we focus so much on framework throughout this course already. You learned a lot about that in Module 0. And all of this, if you've been practicing, you're learning to develop your own curriculum as we move through. So think through that for your coaching clients and your mastermind clients. Focus on the questions you will be asking your customers at all times. Both coaching and mastermind programs are really driven by the quality of the questions you're asking the groups, the quality of the things you're making them think through, the quality of the themes of your questions. You know, my dear friend and mentor, Tony Robbins, has this great saying. He says, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions. And it's so true. What are the questions you ask yourself on a daily basis is going to determine your outcomes in your life. If your questions all day are like, gosh, why am I so stupid? Why doesn't this ever work out? Why are people mean? You know, why does this always happen to me? That's going to lead to one kind of life. If your questions are, how can I develop the greatness in myself today? If your questions are, how can I serve the greatest number of people today? If your questions are, how can I really connect and be present in this moment? You're going to have a different quality of life, aren't you? Well, the same thing for your coaching clients and your masterminds. It's completely driven by the quality of the questions you're going to be asking them. So always be thinking that. At my events, I'm always thinking, what questions can I pose to this group? When I'm coaching individuals, I'm always asking them, what question can I ask them to get to a deeper level? And often these days, you know, after someone's been with me for so long, all the questions and the components I offer, they're thinking through themselves. But for me personally, I'm really focused on what are those higher level questions that I'm using to drive their psychology and their performance. You should think about the same. Fifth thing you should think about in doing these is about taking detailed notes. You should be an absolute detailed note taker in life in general. I mean, in life in general, you should be a note taker. If you're not doing that, you're doing an incredible disservice to yourself, because the idea that you're just going to catch it all and get it with a message is not there. The reality is, we know from all adult learning studies, everything we know from educational psychology says for you to absorb it better, you've got to not just hear it, you've got to write it down, you've got to go back, you've got to reflect on it in order to integrate it. Right? It's very important to take detailed notes. Well, especially in coaching programs and mastermind programs where your goal is really to, every time you have an interaction with a coaching client, is to open up a file on your computer and type out all the notes and take out detailed notes, not just what did we talk about and what did we decide on. Most people, when they take notes in coaching programs or mastermind programs, they're very goal-driven notes, meaning, okay, they agreed to do this and I'm going to keep them accountable on this date. It's like, that's good. You also want to take notes though on what was their emotional reality at the time? What was happening in their family life? What was going on in the interaction between the two of us there? Did I feel a high level of trust between the two of us? Did I feel like they felt confident moving forward? You want to take all the detailed, nuanced notes that will help you think about the next time you interact with them, that you can reflect and go, oh, okay, here's where they were. Let me see if I can take them to the next level. Same thing with mastermind group members. You know, at mastermind events, after you do a mastermind, to sit down and take detailed notes on what worked well in that mastermind, what didn't work well, what was the reality you sensed from the group energetically, where did they seem like they wanted to go, what were the most common questions. Taking notes makes you a better teacher. And our job in Total Product Blueprint is to make you a world-class teacher, and we can't do that if you don't take detailed notes. Always take detailed notes. Sixth, expect the lull. What do I mean by that? Well, the lull means in all coaching programs, and all high-end programs, especially the ones that last 6 months or a year, there's a lull. Everyone comes in, they're super excited, they're thrilled, they're getting the value, they see themselves moving forward, they're excited about this new stage in their life, and then they fall off into enthusiasm, excitement, and they drop out of the program. Or if they stay, there's another one, and then it goes like this. It's the lull, and usually in almost every program ever, especially over the course of the year, you need to know that there's a 3-month, a 7-month, and 11-month guaranteed lull. That your coaching members at the 3-month, 11-month, and 3, 7, and 11 months will start going, is the value here? Should I be here? Is this right for me? Have I made enough progress? They start asking themselves a lot of questions, which of course any learner does. And as they do that, you need to be prepared for that. So you need to inject certain things at that 3, 7, 11 month. New levels of enthusiasm, new levels of surprises, new levels of service, reconnections, reminders about where they've been. You've seen me do this throughout Total Product Blueprint on our coaching calls, of just reminding people about the journey and the value of that journey. Reminding people that, yeah, it's hard, but it's supposed to be hard. All mastery is hard. Reminding people that, hey, this is part of your mission. Stick to it. Don't let up. All of those types of reminders are important. And you need to know that in all of your programs, specifically in your higher end programs, coaching and mastermind programs, that 3, 7, and 11 month. Prepare for that. Be intelligent about supporting them during those times to keep them in the programs. Okay? 7th to think about. Know and set your boundaries. coaching clients, because it's a higher end program often, I mean, how much do you charge? I don't know. It depends on what you're offering. We'll talk about that in a little while, about pricing. But it's usually a higher end program and a higher level of interaction with you and higher levels of expectation about outcome. So there's often a crossing of boundaries where they expect so much from you that, let's say you offer your cell phone number as part of this. Man, your cell phone rings at weird times at night. Or they're emailing you more than you're really providing service, or they're asking you to do things that are outside the service that you offer. This happens all the time. You need to know that happens. So just know and set your boundaries and always stick to it for every client. I mean, I'll tell you what, these last two ideas about expecting the lull and knowing the boundaries have made all the difference for our business, of understanding for me that that's going to happen. That people are going to have a lull and that they're going to break the boundaries. I'm such a giver and a bleeding heart that when anyone has an issue or a problem, they call me, I'll just take the call and I'll try and help them and support them through. But at some point that had detrimental effects on my business, but my personal life too. I mean, it was like people were calling during dinner, people were emailing like crazy times and expecting crazy turnarounds. And I had to understand that, you know what? No, this is what they get in this program. Nothing beyond it. If they want to push for that and go beyond that, they can pay for that. But that's my boundaries. I've got to set that for my own sanity and for the expectations and the service of the rest of the group. So know that. People are going to try and cross your boundaries. Always stick to what's real for you and what your boundaries are, especially at an emotional and a personal level. I get so invested in the success of my clients that sometimes, it's just like I get just so wrapped up emotionally because I want to serve, but I just push the boundaries of my own capabilities, my own sleep, and my own life, and you can't do that if you're going to sustain the business. Okay? Last thing to think about in all of your service for your coaching programs is that you ultimately decide someday to do it. I can go through all of this and then we can train you on how to market and everything, but most people, when it comes to higher end programs, coaching and masterminds, they really have that thing in their minds that goes, well, who am I to do this? I'm not famous, or I'm not smart enough, or all their stupid, silly insecurities come into their lives. And yes, they're stupid and silly. All insecurities are generally stupid and silly. And you should know that about yourself. When I have an insecurity come in my life, I'm like, what is that about? It's really an issue about self-efficacy in your life, about whether or not you believe you're capable of doing something and whether or not you believe you doing it will lead to good results. That's called self-efficacy in psychology, right? About your beliefs of capability and outcome. And if that's low, most people who have a low level of self-efficacy, they're not as successful as the high performers, because high performers always believe that, okay, I can figure this out. I'm capable. I'm generally smart enough and competent enough I'll figure this out. Even if I don't know all of it now, I'm capable. And they believe that if they work hard at something, the outcome will be very positive and move them forward to where they want to go. That's self-efficacy. And so it's important that you have a high level of self-efficacy with all these things, that you believe you can do these things and you believe they'll turn out good things. That's life in general. Well, specifically about hanging your hat. A lot of people say, well, who am I to do this? And John Gray is a great friend and mentor of mine. He's the guy who did the Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus series. He sold like 50 million books around the world. He's been doing it for 30 years. I said, John, he spoke at Experts Academy, and I said, John, tell me about how did you decide that you could just do this? A relationship coach? Did you have a certification? Did you go to courses? And he just laughed. He says, no. He says, I was advising people on this for, a couple of years. And I was so passionate about it. I decided I wanted to do that. And one day, I just decided to hang my hat and hang my shingle out on the door of, I am a relationship coach. I decided that was what I was going to do. No one said I could. No one gave me permission. I didn't have the credentials. I just decided I am going to be a relationship coach. That was it. And he said, that's the day my life changed. And I think it'll be the same thing for you in all of your programs. It's just the day that you decide, yeah, I have the right to do this. I'm going to get the perspective. I'm going to keep learning. I'm going to serve my clients. I'm going to do a good job. But no one needs to tell me I can do it. Matter of fact, if you've been waiting your whole life for someone to tell you you can follow your dreams, you can do what you want, here I am. You can do it. Enough said. That's all the permission you need the rest of your life. You can say, well, shit, that Brendon Burchard said I could do this. I'm ready to go, If that guy says I can do it, I'm ready to rock. You don't need permission from anyone, me or anybody else in the world. At some point, you just decide to do it. That was the same thing for me in my coaching and mastermind programs. I was like, how can I charge someone? My coaching program now is, $35,000 a year. My mastermind program is $10,000 a year. I thought, how could I possibly charge someone that one? And I'm like, I'm going to add the value. I will find the way to add the value. And I just believed in myself, and I believed in my clients, and I believed in my ability to ask great questions and to guide them through. And that's all I had. No credentials, no certifications, nothing. And now some people say, well, that's horrible, Brendan. Doesn't mean I'm not out there learning. Doesn't mean I don't take courses, go to seminars, study books, listen to things. Doesn't mean I don't get mentors. I do all that. That's the path to mastery. I'm always continuing my education. But at some point, your education only takes you so far, and you got to get the gumption to decide to do it. And that's about hanging your hat. Okay, so what are some of the things you can offer as part of coaching and mastermind programs? As you create these programs, what are some of the components that often make up coaching programs and mastermind programs at the group level or even at the individual level, depending on what you want to do? Okay, so let's walk through these components so you can start thinking about the menu of things that you could offer. One of the most common things, obviously, with coaching or mastermind programs is this idea that you'll do full day or half day sessions live with the individuals in the program, one-on-one. Right? So coaching, if you have a private coaching practice one-on-one with someone, you're probably going to meet with them live at some point, right? Whether it's once a day, whether it's once a month for a full day or a half day, or it's once a week for a full day or a half day, or it's once a year for a full day or a half day. Whatever it is for you, you've got to decide, well, again, what's my level of interaction that I want with them? And so, for example, with me, with my Centering coaching clients, they come out to Expert Studio here in Portland, Oregon, and we sit down here in the studio at the big conference war table, and we spend an entire half day together going through their entire business. Now, you say, well, why a half day versus a full day? Well, because I offer all these other things that I know I'm taking care of them. For me, I know in 4 hours with someone, one-on-one with their business, I can take them, through the roof, because mostly it's the fundamentals or the optimization that I'm going to take them through to make sure that they succeed more, right? And the rest I'll serve them in this way. But for my coaching clients, I give them half a day. My mastermind members, I don't do individual one-on-one sessions with them. That's only for the coaching clients. So you have to decide, again, what's your level of coaching. And again, let me go through this. As I'm going to go through this, what you can offer people, and I'm going to use my examples of Centering coaching or Empire. I want to let you know I'm not trying to enroll you in this video in that. Matter of fact, there is no way to sign up for those 2 programs outside of our live events. So if you want to see me talk about these programs or something like that, you'd have to be at my live event. I chose to do that, as you'll see in my next video with marketing, because I want people to have a unique experience with me first before they decide if I'm their coach or right for their mastermind leader. So I want them to come to my live events. I used to allow people to apply online or do teleseminars. We'll talk about that in the next marketing video. But for me, I wanted them to have an experience with me first, and then that would make them know whether or not it was right for them. So I'm not trying to enroll you as I go through here and talk about my program. I'm trying to illustrate what's the menu of opportunities you can offer your coaching or your mastermind members, okay? So the second thing here that you can offer is monthly calls. To do every single month. This is very common. I'd say it should be part of every single thing you do if you have a coaching or mastermind group, is to do a monthly call no matter what. Whether it's a monthly call of you training, or it's a monthly Q&A call with the group, or it's a monthly interview with some big name expert, or it's all of the above, right? Whatever it is for you, but to get them on the phone once a month is very important to create that continuity with them. Some groups you might do weekly calls depending on the duration of your thing. Again, my emphasis is usually 6 or 12 months, preferably 12 months, so that you can get them into the agreement, so that you can get them so that you know you have this time to develop them. But at the same time, if it's shorter, no problem. But you should have continual calls with the group to create that rapport and to create that added value. Next, you can issue monthly content to the group. You can send out a monthly video to the group. You can send out a monthly audio to the group. You can send out a monthly DVD or mail them a newsletter every single month. But every single month, for sure, no matter what, you must either email or mail them something, or even both, right? But you want that touch point of value every single month to keep them there, right? That's one of the ways that you prevent those big lulls is by having a continuing addition of value throughout the time that you have them, okay? So monthly content you might deliver to them. Next, you might have online members areas for your coaching, your mastermind members. Online members areas, meaning a membership, interactive membership site. So for example, for both my groups, I have a Ning site, ning.com, Ning site, where it's basically a group portal where they can log in and they can all post their profiles. They can all ask each other questions. They can message each other. They can post videos. They can post their own blog. It's really their whole thing. I barely manage it at all. I just go in there. I post the content every single month. I answer any questions in there. But pretty much it's them interacting with each other, talking with each other. We post our calendar of our events in there. But we have that online members portal area, and you should have that too because, again, it gives them another way to interact with you if you really want to go in those higher-end group coaching and mastermind programs. Another component that you can offer is event tickets. If you do a live event each year, as an example, or you do multiple live events each year, training seminars or workshops, that you allow your coaching and your mastermind members to come to those, right? And so they get the additional value. So my coaching members and my mastermind members each get sort of passes to my live events, different levels. Like my mastermind members, they can come to like Experts Academy and Partnership Seminar and a specialty event that we do, where my coaching members, they come to every event that I do. I mean, everything. I mean, whether it's an event of mine or even if they see I'm speaking at some other person's and I'm going to be on some other person's stage, I'll get them into that other person's seminar. I mean, literally, I've gotten coaching clients into programs that cost $10,000. I've gotten, anything that I'm involved in at all, my coaching clients can come because they're my highest level of service, right? My mastermind members, a lower level of service, they only get a subset of those menus of events, right? So you get to sparse out the events if you do events. Okay, another component that you can offer is VIP experiences. What do I mean by that? VIP experiences like, well, okay, if they're going to come to those events, they're VIP. They can sit front row. They can come out to dinner. When you're in a city, you go and you treat them like you take them out to dinner or something. Whatever it is for you, that you can create a sense that they're very important, right? Because they are, obviously. But VIP experiences, specifically at events, is really great because they appreciate that. You know, they get a special badge. I mean, it sounds silly, but that's important to people. The way they're labeled, right? The way gosh, what do you call those things that hang around your neck? I just blanked the name of those things. But you know, their name tag, to have a ribbon on there or a special designation that they're part of this specific group, that makes people feel important, included, and it's important, right? Okay, so another component that you can offer is gatherings. And I just use this as a big bucket word, gatherings. This can mean that you meet several times, like in masterminds, you're going to meet a couple times a year, right? That's a gathering. You're going to meet live a couple times a year as part of the mastermind. Or a gathering could be vacation travel together. You might go to some island somewhere or some city together with your whole group and just have a good time together and celebrate, like vacation club. You might go on an adventure somewhere together, dune buggying in Cabo or something. Don't do that. You can do all sorts of things where you get people together and it just becomes a meetup, and there's tremendous value in that. Again, we talked about levels of interaction. How often do you want to get together your mastermind members? Well, with gatherings, typically you want to get your mastermind members together at least twice a year, if not 4 times a year, depending on how much you're charging and what the outcomes is you want to achieve and that they want to achieve as well. But gatherings, how can you get them together live each year to experience something unique and to add value? And the last component that you can offer is this idea of all access, meaning that your coaching, your mastermind members can have all access to you and basically your business suite or your business products and programs. So let me give you an example. Like my Center Ring members, my $35,000 coaching group, which is closed currently, and the reason, I'll tell you the reason it's closed is because they get all access. So these folks in my coaching program, they have my private cell phone, so they're texting me. We text quite a bit. They email me, my private email. They have access to all of my events or any events that I go out and I speak to. They gosh, they, let me think what else do they get. They, monthly calls. Any product or program I ever create, they get free. So Total Product Blueprint, they got free. Experts Academy Online, they got free. Partnership Seminar, a free Partnership Seminar DVD, free High Performance Academy, free High Performance Academy DVD, free. Every audio I create, free. Like anything I create, period, that coaching group gets for free. That's all access, right? That means they're in it. They're in the brand, they're in the personality. That's what it means to have all access, right, to you. Some of them, all access, they come backstage at my events to see, like, how's it all set up? They volunteer at many of my events. Many of my volunteers start out as coaching clients, right? Because they're coaching clients and they're just like, I want to see behind the scenes stuff. So we say, best way to see behind the scenes, be a volunteer if you'd like. So they'll come and they'll be a volunteer at our events so they can get the perspective of what's going on there. That's some serious access. They come to our staff meetings, like, I mean, full access, that level. Those are the types of things that you can offer for your all access. And people will want that. Believe it or not, people really want that. So you have to say, okay, is that something I want to offer or not? And again, just like with all access and all of these, you may or may not offer any of these. But these are, I'm just recommending to you, these are the things you should think through as you build out your program. See, I started right off the bat. In everything I've done, no one gave me permission or no one said, well, Brendan, now you've been doing this enough years, you can do all this. When I started, here's what I did. I went out and I said, what are the best in the world doing right now in their coaching programs? And I saw that they were basically offering all of this. So I said, I'm going to offer all of that. No one said I could. I didn't have to build up or ramp up to it. I just decided, I hung my hat and I said, I am going to do that right now. No one gave me permission. And this is really important for you to hear. With coaching and mastermind programs, you're never going to be ready. None of this, you're ever going, if you wait until the day it's like perfect and you're ready and you think, well, I'm ready. You know what? That day isn't going to come. One day you're going to wake up and decide in life, I'm ready. It's my time. I decided that when I was a 19-year-old kid after a car accident. And it's been a decision every part of my day for 15 years that I'm ready. I don't have to wait. When an opportunity comes up to get on a major media show, I don't question myself. I'm like, I'm ready. When an opportunity comes up to serve a bigger client, I'm like, I'm ready. When I find out I'm going to go and sit down and interview Richard Branson, I'm like, I'm ready. I'm good to go. I'm going to be on stage with the Dalai Lama. My time. Here I go. Nothing is telling me that I can do that except myself. And at some point, you'll do that. And the reason I'm harping on this is because specifically with coaching and mastermind programs in our industry, people often believe they've got to wait for years and years and years and years to do it. And it's like, I just decided the first year, even when event tickets, I only had one event, but I gave them tickets to that event. Well, now I have like, what, 7? So now they can come to all of them. But when I began, I only had one thing, that was it. With all access at the beginning, I didn't have all these product suites and everything else. All I had was, I was like, you can have my cell phone. You know, it's like, you build. But you can only build if you begin. Right? Great Brendon Burchard quote. You can only build if you begin. So you've got to begin somewhere and then you build, just like everything else that we've talked about. You know, everything that we've talked about begins somewhere. Like we just had a conversation in our last coaching call about traffic and how to get traffic and everything else like that. And it was a great call. And I offered my great ways to do it. And most people, they want to wake up one day and have a database or a list of 100,000 people. So they don't begin anything because they're like, I don't have a list. And I'm like, no, begin and you build. You know, my list began with, you know, a couple hundred friends and family. And then a couple more people, and then a couple more people, and a couple more people. And over a series of years, I built this huge empire. But that's how it always takes. And the same thing will happen with your coaching clients and your mastermind members. Be okay with the fact that when you start, you might only have one person in your coaching group. Right? That's how it's going to be. And then it's going to build to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up to as many as you want. Right? Same thing with masterminds. Your first mastermind when you first started, I think I had like 10 at my first one. Right? And now we have 100 at each of these things. Right? So you have to think about how many do you want, and you also have to think about the fact that at some point, the only way you're going to ever get those many is to begin. So I hope that serves you in learning about these two different programs. In our next video, we'll talk about how to market them. And specifically, I'll give you in that next video the ways that I market them, including, okay, the invitation type thing that I would use, the invitation model that you should use. Now that you know all the components you can offer, you can integrate those into it. But specifically, what I'll give you is a download too of an application that we use, that if someone wants to apply for one of our programs, and yes, we make them apply to see if they're the right fit or not, you will see an exact example of that in play. So again, watch that next video. It will teach you a lot about how to further think through these programs, because again, a lot of times as you're thinking through the marketing, it teaches you how to create them too, and that's why Total Product Blueprint's all been about creating and marketing. I could have created just a create it program, but I knew if I didn't talk about marketing, then you'd never really have a great perspective of how to create great things, because the marketing helps you think through it even further. So check out the next video. I think you'll really enjoy it. Go out there at some point, decide in your life if you're really going to build out a mature business model in the expert space, if you're really going to build out something that's mature, I mean a higher level, higher income brand in the expert space, you will implement a coaching or mastermind program. Everybody does at some point when they decide to. So I hope that at some point you decide to hang your hat. It's a great way to serve people. Most people think coaching programs are just about this high, lucrative thing that you can do with people. Oh my God, you can charge people, thousands of dollars a month or tens of thousands of dollars a year. Yes, you must do that because that's just a great level of income. And it is true. It's a great level of income, these high-end programs. I love them. They took my business and my profit to the next level. But that's not why I did them. I did them because I also understand it was a great way to have more impact. Right? Seeing people more often, serving them more often through these things, my transformation with my groups went through the roof. My testimonials went through the roof. My feeling, a sense of personal achievement and accomplishment to see my people have their personal achievements and accomplishments reached at that higher level. That was fulfilling to me. And I learned so much from my coaching clients and my mastermind clients based on what they ask me, what our interactions are, what's on their plate, what they're trying to do. It makes me a better teacher to all my other students. So it's not just a matter of doing it for the income. I hate that everyone focuses on that in this industry. It's also about the level of development that you get and the level of development that you get to serve and give to your students. So consider doing it at some point. I think you might like it. Whether now or later, this video is always here. You can come back and learn it. Let's jump into now, how do you go out and you market these programs? Until I see you in the next video, go out there, live fully, love openly, and make a difference today.